Welcome, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying your 4th of July weekend or that you are catching up on some much needed rest and relaxation time. Either way, I wanted to hop on and go over the charts and the stocks that I'll be looking at for this upcoming week. Before I get into it, I definitely want to chart the indexes to kind of see what's going on with the overall market, which may have the potential to give us an indication of what may happen with individual stocks this week. All right, let's get to it. I am looking first at the SPX chart. And this is the weekly time frame. One thing I noticed is that it seems to be trading down in this range at some kind of what I might call a flag. And one thing that's concerning to me is that we are approaching the top of this trend. It could indicate that we may see a reversal and maybe some downward pressure in the coming week. We would need a close above on the weekly above this channel or this trend line right here to see further room to the upside. Now, what is more concerning for me, because the weekly chart doesn't look terribly bad, but what's more concerning for me is the daily chart. If we come in and look at the daily chart, I could draw the same channel, descending channel that I found, or some traders would be more concerned about a pattern that looks to be forming called a diamond. And if a diamond pattern forms, that could be signaling a downtrend or a reversal in the market. So the S&P is kind of leaning towards some bearish, but again, we could break out and close above this diamond pattern. And if we do, I would be looking for a price target of 7,644, which I use this same chart to chart SPY or trade futures with. So that would be probably equivalent to, don't quote me, but it could be equivalent to $763 dollars on the, excuse me, $64 on a SPY chart. Now, I also saw this same pattern forming on the Nasdaq 100. However, the difference between SPY and the Nasdaq is that if you look at this green candle right here on the daily, it's at the bottom of the wedge or the diamond pattern. And so there's still room to the upside. So we could see more upside for the Nasdaq or QQQ, whichever one you trade. And so that means there could be stocks that trade on the NASDAQ this upcoming week, or at least Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how the week starts. That could show a little bit of bullish momentum. So we'll just be waiting to see that. So here's the interesting thing that I take into account whenever I am trading is that the Nasdaq actually acts like a big brother and the S&P 500 acts like a little brother. So sometimes what we'll see is if the Nasdaq is extremely bullish, it will drag the little brother along into its direction or the direction that it's going, even if the little brother is saying or looking like it should be pulling back or going in a different direction. So if the Nasdaq 100 is extremely bullish, we could see some upside on the S&P or the ES in the upcoming week. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, and we'll continue to watch the chart as time go on. So let's continue and see what else we got. So INTC actually has a setup that I really like that I'll be looking at this week. So on the weekly, it looks like we are trading within this ascending channel, and we had a break or a close in the candle in between the middle line of the channel. And so we could definitely come down and touch this $106 level. And if so, that's what I'd be looking to do. So I'd be looking for entry in this in the upcoming week, making sure that we don't have a pullback that would start going in the other direction. But I would look for a swing trade on this I'll be looking for a swing trade on this to the downside with a take profit level of around 106.93. Next, I am watching Dell. I do not know that I would be able to have an entry in this upcoming week. As we know, Dell went parabolic and over its last earnings last month and created massive highs, and it has been ranging and bouncing ever since. So every week I will be watching to see when the gap that was created last month starts to, or decides that it wants to fill. Sometimes it's a while, like it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be a long time before a gap fills. And I have not seen a fill happen yet. Now, there is some importance here that if you look at this candle right here, the wick on this candle, it looks like it came and it may have touched almost in the center of the gap, which sometimes means that gaps have a 50% retracement. And once it has that 50% retracement, it that's enough to support it or prop it up for a while. So I don't see an entry yet. This still seems stable, but every week I'll be looking at Dell for potential puts that will close or completely close this gap to the downside back down to $326.53, and then the next level $312.12. Now, I've been watching Lululemon. I actually like Lulu in the setups that it has. Right now, it seems to be in a channel and it's on its way up. So, simple enough, as long as the candles stay above this middle line right here, this blue middle line, I'll be looking for calls, and my take profit will be the top of this channel. And I would also be looking for entries to ride it back down. My take profit or first take profit would be at the channel line, and my final take profit will be here. One thing that we always have to watch for is if it creates a close above this channel, then it cancels out this move, and the move will no longer be good or in that direction. Now, we've been seeing some massive move ups on Hood or Robin Hood. And one thing that I am interested in seeing or watching for in the upcoming weeks, especially Monday, is how the stock is going to react now that the Trump accounts are open. If you have not heard, Robinhood was awarded the contract or the collaboration to house the Trump accounts that are coming out. So if you don't know what a Trump account is, Big Beautiful Bill had a portion in it that said that if children are born between 2005 and 2008, they'll be awarded $1,000 from the government. That $1,000 will be placed into an account that can be managed by the parents for that child, and they will not be able to touch it until they are 18 years old. But that money will be invested in low cost ETF that will continue to grow throughout the child's lifetime. So I got word today that the accounts were funded. I'm interested in seeing what happens on Monday, how Robinhood stock will react now that it has money in it that's going to be held for at least 18 years or until the child becomes of majority age, when children are still being born. So from now until 2028, every child that's born is eligible for that money. Now, it will not automatically be opened up. The parents do have to apply, but this is actually should be, and I'm going to watch and be seeing if it's bullish momentum for Robinhood. Now, MXL, what is going on here? So we noticed that it created a newer high, and it has a very, very, very strong pullback. Sellers came in deep and strong and pulled this stock all the way back. So we had a closing on the weekly below the last kind of highest trend line. So I am looking for confirmation on lower time frames. It almost looks like we're creating a triple top, if you will. I'm expecting on the daily that MXL will come back and touch this range, but I'm looking for a breakout below this box for entry to enter puts. Now, if you were to get in, if a candle closes below this white box, and let's say you get in right here, you have to be very careful because the market could do a fake out and reverse and go back up. A more safer entry for me would likely be if we get a close of a candle that's more in line or below this little part right here, this little candle or this wick. So a close in this area, which would be about $66.61, would actually be a safer trade. And I would look for a take profit around about $50.32. Or whenever my trading plan tells me to hop out. Now, we do have a gap. I'm going to remove this so that you can see we do have, excuse me, we do have a gap. I'm trying to move this down. We do have a gap that is between $35 and 49.70, almost $50, that at some point in time will need to be filled. So just patiently waiting. If we hit this 48.61 level, then my next level would be 37.50, and then 26.58. So that's the stocks that I'll be looking at this week to enter trades. Let me know what you'll be doing. Anything that I'm looking at or I've said is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, and sell, but let me know what you'll be doing and what stocks you're looking at this week. All right, until next time, see